When you've been embroiled for 2 weeks in a series like we've have, and now get ready for another step up, but I guess maybe a different sort of opposition, how do you guys segue from one to the other and get ready for Game 1 Friday night?
Well, it is a different opposition, but the challenge remains the same. I mean, it's a good hockey team. It's a 100-point hockey team. We're just under that, and we're down to 4 teams left here in the American Hockey League. It's a good league, and there's lots of good teams in it. So to be down to 4, any one of the 3 that you may be facing at this stage is going to be quite a challenge. So it's a good team. It is, there's some different things as there is from one team to the next, and we're using our time to prepare for that. And we had a meeting today with the players, and we'll have another one tomorrow. And when you get to this point, though, especially as the window for preparation gets smaller and fatigue starts to set in a little bit in terms of playoff hockey, you want to keep the guys fresh and keep their minds free and allow them to just focus on our own game. So there's an element of that for sure, but the coaching staff's doing a lot of digging in and getting to know our opponents. The team we didn't play a lot in the regular season, so we're trying to get to know them as best we can.
Do you feel like you're gaining fans in the city and across the country as the further you go and the more important games you play?
Well, I really only know what goes on in the building here, and the reaction we've had and the people that have come out and filled the place for all of our playoff games here at home. It really shows that people are following the team and paying attention or into it. And the atmosphere in here for Game 7 was tremendous. Right, even after the buzzer, people hung around here and saluted our guys as they saluted them. It was pretty cool experience, and it's nice to see that type of reaction. Our guys have put in a lot of work this year, and they feel good about what they've done, and for people to take notice certainly makes them feel good and makes us feel good about what we're doing, and we're happy that we've been able to continue our season and give them a reason to keep coming.
On that subject, are you a little concerned that you're not opening at home? I know you don't have any say in the schedule and how weird the building situation is, but you had a good push here in Game 7, yet you don't open at home.
Yeah, as I said before, it's not ideal. You like to start at home and keep the momentum that you may have generated from the last game, and especially when you've got a short turnaround here, you lose a day because you got to travel and all that kind of stuff. But once we get out there, we'll be fine and we'll be ready to go. We probably played better hockey on the road than we have at home overall, so we feel good about that. We've been good on the road all season long. And, we know we'll be coming back home for 3 games here after these 2, so feel good about that. So, we'll go out there, we'll be prepared and ready to play against a good team and know what we're coming back to, and we'll feel good about that.
Sheldon, you got to a conference final last year in the Ontario Hockey League. How much do those experiences do you still draw upon as you coach at this level?
I think every experience you go through, no matter how far you go or how far you don't go, I think you're always learning, you're always drawing from it. Pro hockey is a little bit of a different feel, but it certainly is still hockey. So you're always learning and taking what you can from everything that you go through. So I don't know if it's necessarily where we went last year, where we didn't go. It's just, you're older, you've got a little more experience behind the bench, and I think any experience you get at any level, it applies. And I certainly didn't feel out of my element coaching in the last series and coaching in Game 7, and everything that was at stake felt pretty comfortable, and I think our players just the same. You want to have that experience at the pro level for sure, but these are all players that have played in big moments at different times in their careers, so everybody's able to draw on different things.
You've got the pro experience. What's been the biggest adjustment for you as a coach coming to this? What was the biggest thing you learned maybe over the course of the year that you don't deal with at
I think just the bigger thing is just dealing with older players. And we have a young team. We've got some guys here that would be eligible or are younger than guys I coached in the OHL last year. That said, you draw on your older guys. You can rely on them a little bit more to keep a handle on the locker room, and you speak with them a lot and take a lot of their input into the schedule and get a feel for how the team is doing, and so that's really just those kind of things. Everything else I've found has been smooth. Getting to know the schedule and the different cities and arenas and coaches around the league. That kind of stuff has taken a little bit of time, and Cord Dineen's experience has really been valuable there. Certainly, But I think hockey's hockey, and especially once you get one turn around the league, playing the teams you're used to playing against, or you have to get used to playing against, I should say, it makes you more comfortable, and I felt pretty good right from the start here.
You've got a number of against Black Aces that might be with you next year or down the road. I'm thinking Travis Dermott, Nelson, those kinds of guys. What's this experience of soaking all this up mean for them when they turn pro eventually?
I think it's important. It's important for a lot of reasons. That they learn to see how guys handle themselves around here. They learn what the expectations are. They learn what it's like to play against men on the ice and practice every day. And some of them have been in games, whether it's playoffs or in Dermott's case or regular season in Nielsen's case. So all that stuff is important. I think another big part of it is just that, to learn that hockey's not supposed to end in April. You're supposed to play a long time. You're supposed to play beyond the regular season. You're supposed to play deep into the playoffs. And to have them around here and still coming to the rink and preparing and still knowing that they could play at any time and they have to be prepared for that, I think that's good for the mindset, and it's good for hockey players to learn that, that there's a season after the regular season that is very important, and to have the mindset, that your summer is always going to be short, I think is a positive thing for a competitive hockey player.
I think we've seen here that your two goalies are friends. They back each other up. They're on the same side with each other. Have you been in situations where the two goalies in the room, maybe when you're a player, weren't friends? They were more rivals, each trying to get that time? And what's that dynamic like, and how does it work here?
I can't think of any case, where that's been the situation. I think even when it is, goaltenders and hockey players generally seem to find a way to check their egos and be good teammates. Goaltenders are used to, having to share the net or compete for the net. They're used to that. They grow up with that in many cases. So I don't think it's unique. It's a good problem for us to have as a coaching staff, but it is something we're aware of. We got to talk to the goalies a lot, and credit to Piero Greco and the work that he puts in to keep both guys ready and keep both guys sharp. But both are competitors. Both want the net. Both have had different times where they have carried the load for us. Through the regular season, both have been in the net in the playoffs. Both have been in the NHL this year. Obviously, Sparksy, getting time to play, but Beebs was around it and got a feel and a sense for it, and makes him a little more hungry for sure. But both guys are positive and unique in their own ways, and it's a good mix for us to have.
Albany had a pretty clear identity as a gritty defense first team. How do you characterize Hershey as a group heading into round three?
I would say that they're a team that, much like us, likes to play on offense. Really good on the rush, really creative in the offensive zone, has some elite offensive players, and play good sound, structured team defense as well, and are committed to that. So, again, you get to this point in the season, while each team is unique in its own way, you're playing against good clubs that if you're not prepared and you don't execute and you're not competitive from start to finish, that you're not going to have success. So we're prepared for a real hard series here. We've got another day or so to get ourselves, geared back up. Coming off of a high, we want to hopefully build upon that and capitalize on that when puck drops, despite being on the road. And I feel like it's going to be a different type of game than what we may have had in the Albany series, but we have to make sure it doesn't change our game and how we needed to play in order to get through a real tough team.
You talked about adjusting to the program. How much of an adjustment was it to learn, about guys getting called up and dealing with that situation?
You know what? It really wasn't an adjustment. I was well aware of the situation coming in. I went through it as a player, playing the AHL and knowing that you're here one day, maybe gone the next, and the guy you're lined up beside, it could be the same thing, or the lineup that you're expecting to go into the big game with all of a sudden changes drastically. So I knew all that stuff coming in, and especially this season, knowing that there was going to be a lot of movement within both organizations. So I was fully prepared for it, so it never really caught me off guard. There's at times you have a little bit of a chuckle just on how much things can change at this level. And I talked to a number of coaches from around the league coming into the season, and they all said that's the biggest challenge perhaps is that you make a plan and you go into a game and then things change quite a bit and you've got to adjust on the fly. And we, I think, had more movement than any other team in the league this year. So for a first-year coach, it was a lot to handle. But again, I thought our staff did a really good job. And Kyle, the management and scouting staff had a nice pool of players for us to draw upon, brought in talented guys that allowed us to just keep winning games and get through that regular season strong.